One of the worst financial decisions I ever made was leasing a car. And it was one of the first cars that I just wanted this fancy car, and it was a silver, it was a 200 SX Nissan, and the car talked, and it was awesome. It had sunroofs, and man, I thought I had it going on in that car. And the reason that car was an emotional decision, it was all about how it would make me feel and how it would make other people feel about me. And so, this is what I want you to understand is that wealth is not material possessions. It's the value you create. Now, it took me a while to learn that. And what really had me think about that was I had the opportunity to speak to some young professionals at Under Armour yesterday. And a young man was listening to what I had to say because you know how I feel. It's like, that poverty mindset, that day-to-day living, getting what you want now and having no thought to what you want to happen in the future. That was a conversation I was having with him. So he raised his hand. He was like, Miss Owens, though, I know you talk about waiting and not having a poverty mindset, but what if you can afford that Tesla and you want to live for today? And I get that. I mean, I really understood it. And what I said to him, I said, look, there is a difference between wealth and income. And the difference is you got to decide the difference between what you really want and what you want right now. And so I challenged him. I said, I bet you haven't even figured out or determined where you want to be 10 years from now or 20 years from now. And so what I told him is that one of the things I learned very early on in my career is that wealth is quiet. When wealth walks in the door, you won't even know they're there. And what do I mean by that? I also had this great experience where I was doing some training for Sam's Club, and they had like a museum set up of Sam Walton, and they had his red pickup truck. And his red pickup truck, one of the wealthiest men in the world, was still driving a red pickup truck before he passed away. And so I told them that story to help them to understand and to help them to understand the difference between what true wealth is. And that, you got to make a decision. I mean, we all have to make a decision. And it's the decision of what we want most rather than what we want now. And so I say that because, I keep seeing all of these social media is almost made it even more pervasive. Or like the story about the woman whose son went to a prom. He had 3 dates. He had a camo. She spent $25,000 on this prom. And so the question I have for parents, what value were you creating by, basically spending $25,000? What was the lesson in that? What was the lesson in that for that young man? What is he going to go away thinking about? That if he looks a certain way, appears a certain way, does certain things, that he's going to be a certain way? No. The fact is that even that $25,000 to me personally, that's a poverty mindset. Come on, that's day to day. What? So what? You got a memory, but what did you learn from that? And so the point I want to make to folks, let's stop the madness. Like true wealth, it's not ostentatious. It's not bling bling. You're not going to see all that. It's not going to be noticeable. It's quiet. Wealth is quiet.